So you made it to part 3 of the series, which maybe tells me that you're serious about passing your CSS exam. Congratulations, because most people did quit at the first video. In the third video, we're going to be talking about how we can brainstorm for a topic. So what is brainstorming? Basically, whenever you see 10 topics, you are going to be shortlisting them maybe down to 4 to 2. Then maybe these are the topics that you can write on. And once you start brainstorming on them, you will realize that maybe this certain topic you can write on, but there are certain topics that you're not so good at. So brainstorming is very important. You do it at the last page of your essay. You're going to open the booklet, go to the last page of your essay, and then you're going to start brainstorming. And there are different ways to do it, right? So let's say we pick up an example, and just to be consistent with what we're doing in the last video, let's say you see an essay paper, and to keep the topic simple that everyone can understand, you say you pick gender equality is a myth, right? You pick that topic, go to the last page. There are a few things that I want you to write down on that page. Who, what, where, when, why, how, right? Just write it down. Who are we talking about? We're talking about gender equality, which includes, women, men, trans people, everyone, right? Who, what is it? What is gender equality, right? Gender equality is a definition in which there are equal access to, opportunities to all genders. Where is it being implemented throughout the world? It's an issue throughout the world, right? Who, what, where, when? When is it relevant? It's been relevant for as long as we've been alive, but right now it's more relevant than ever, right? Who, what, where, when, why, and how. So these last two are really important because they set the base for your outline. Why? So gender equality is a myth. Why? And how? These are two different things. Why is it a myth? And how is it a myth? So why is like, you don't want to drink a glass of water. And then how is like, you don't want to pick up the glass and don't drink it. But why is the reasoning is that there are different reasons why gender equality is a myth, right? Because we're going to be talking about maybe it's in the political sphere and everything, and how is basically just, you can say, the illustration, the evidence that this does exist. So these two are very important. Once you've written them down, you've covered them, you're going to go further bit down, and then you're going to write PESTREL, PESTREL. We call this a PESTREL analysis, right? Political, economic, social, technological, religious, environmental, and legal. Now, not all of these things will apply to all topics, but they're going to help you cover the dimensions. It's very helpful. Trust me, if you're picking a topic and you want to do something, you should do a PESTREL analysis, right? And I'm going to be doing it with you right now, just so that I can prove that this is very effective. So politically, can you say that gender equality is a myth? Yes, you can, because if you just count the amount of leaders in the world, the amount of male and then the amount of females, you will come to the conclusion that gender equality is a myth. Or if you just, give an example of how females have to rely on quotas to get elected, you will realize that gender equality is a myth. So is political ticking the box in this topic? Yes, it is. We put a tick on that. You're gonna be, just writing, make an arrow, from the P, and then just write down the relevant examples and facts, right? Economic. We move on to economic. Economically, is it true that gender equality is a myth? Yes, it is, because if you take out the list of Fortune 500 companies and check the amount of CEOs that are females, you will know that they make a very small percentage. So economically, yes, gender equality is a myth. In the same way, write it down, write 2 to 3 examples and facts. See, sociological, is gender equality is a myth? Of course it is, because in different societies, there are females who face gender-based violence, or, there are laws that actually prevent women from working in different countries, or women are subjugated, right? And you can give examples of the UN or different countries and different laws. Does it apply? Yes, it does. Put it in the same way. So we're done with PES, technological. Can we write about this? We probably can, because there are a number of, stats and facts that obviously you will check for this topic, because I'm doing an example right now and my research is limited. But even technologically, when we talk about males and females, there is a disparity in the amount of females operating in the AI sector, for example, or any other sector that you can pick out related to technology. And you realize that this disparity actually arises from education, which is the building block of all human beings. So even the education part is not a separate in the PESTREL analysis, but you can add it into the social sphere as well separately, right? So we're done with the technological part religiously. So there are some things that you have to exclude, and I would say that we can exclude it from here. Yes, we can talk about religion, but it would be controversial. So the one thing that you do not want to do is make your essay controversial. Remember, you don't know who's checking your paper. You should treat him or her like a baby that, you have to spoon feed them and tell them everything. But you should not look to make any sweeping statements, because they can be, like everyone, humans are biased. If someone writes a paper and says something good about Linkin Park, I might give him extra number because I love the band. That's just a bad example, but I'm just saying, like, if, for example, someone is very religious and they're checking your paper, they might tend to give you bad marks because you just, brought religion into gender equality and stuff. So let's leave that out. And that does not have to apply here. Remember, I said in the start that not every point has to apply to each topic, right? So PES, right? And then T, political, economic, social, technological. We're done with that. Religious, we've left. Legally. Well, can we talk about legally in this term? We probably can, because like I said, there are many countries who have actually made it legally illegal for females to study or to, actually work. And there are different discriminatory laws, even for example, in Afghanistan. So you can give examples. So yes, you will write that down, and then you would write facts and stats with that, right? Moving forward, we're done with the legal part. Environmental. Now, before a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I never thought that environmental would be actually relevant to gender equality, but it actually is when you think hard about it. So environmentally, they are more badly affected by any disaster, natural disaster, or any flood. And there are many studies by the UN that prove this. So even environmentally, they're at a very disadvantageous place because they have lesser access to basic facilities and everything. Even environmentally, you can write down these facts, right? And then what was the last? Political, economic, social, technological, religious, environmental, and legal. I actually covered legal in the start, but it doesn't matter. So we have this PESTREL analysis, right, that we've done. And now you can see that you've covered different dimensions of this topic. This is how brainstorming is done. If you are confused between two topics, you're just gonna quickly write them down and then just gonna start brainstorming between them to see which topic you will hold more grasp over. That's the main thing, that's the whole purpose, right? And there will be one topic that you will realize through this process that you actually have more knowledge about, even if you didn't know. With the topic that I attempted in 2020, tourism in Pakistan, opportunities and challenges, I did not even prepare tourism. But when I wrote it down, I realized that I have so much information and data on it that I could actually write a very good essay. And I eventually did end up doing that. This will help you narrow down to a topic that you know well about, instead of, going with your gut feeling, picking a topic, and then realizing midway that you made a wrong error. Remember, there's no time for error in an essay topic. We've officially started, this is, the third class. There is no room for error. This is why we're following all these guidelines. They're gonna eliminate mistakes. When I started preparing for this essay exam, I thought I want to be adding everything, until I realized it's all about eliminating things. It's very simple. Keep your English simple, your vocabulary simple, keep your sentence structure very simple. You don't have to complicate things. We're gonna be learning that along the way, but just giving you a heads up. And why I say it's important to make these choices is because in 3 hours, they're gonna pass by like this. You won't even know if you think 3 hours is big enough. We want to be spending 45 minutes to 1 hour being done with all your brainstorming, right? Write this down, write this timeline down with all your brainstorming, your rough outline, your neat outline, your introduction. If it's taking even a minute above an hour, you are already in trouble. And then we want to spend the rest of the time, like 1 hour, 30 minutes, you know, something like that, writing the body. 1 hour, 45 minutes writing the body, right? 5 minutes for the conclusion, and then 10 minutes to check the paper. This is the timeline. And to make sure you follow this timeline, this is why I've given you these guidelines. So what your assignment is, right? Pick a topic from any paper. I don't care whichever paper you take. If it's the more recent ones, that's better, because that's usually the kind of timeline or usually the kind of sequence or the kind of topics that are being followed these days. Pick a topic and then write, just brainstorm on it, right? Brainstorm on different topics and see whether you're getting a result through this process or not. And if you will eventually realize that you are good in certain topics. If not, that's also an indication that you need to make certain, aspect of your preparation stronger. And then come back to me, comment below that what kind of issues you're facing and how we can fix them. So now that we've done with brainstorming, right? All it requires is practice. In the next video, we're gonna be focusing on how we can write an outline for our essay paper. And then afterwards, in the next video, we're gonna be going towards an introduction and thesis statement. So the outline is very important, makes or breaks your essay. The examiner only usually reads about your outline and introduction. That's very important. So make sure you practice before watching the next video. And in the next video, I'm gonna teach you how to write an outline. Make sure, as always, you subscribe, share it with your friends, and leave your questions in the comments below.